Good morning, and welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm Linda Thornton, and I'm joined today by Ilya Kowalchuk, Tad and Emily Corias, and Valentino Valiente providing music, and our tech ushers, Bill Beachley and Deborah Mensch, who help things run very smoothly. Our senior minister, Reverend Lydia Ferrante Roseberry, is on a well-deserved ministerial sabbatical through August 9th. And the most important people to mention of all are you. This fellowship and all of the wonderful people you are, for you are the reason we do any of it. To say the welcome words today, I invite you to shift into gallery mode if you haven't already done so. And scroll through the screen so that you can experience the lovely diversity of this congregation, because without it and without you, there would be no us. You are all welcome here today. In the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes, sizes that come together in your uniqueness, you are welcome here. In all the ways you experience and express gender, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here. And all the ways that you make your living and the places you are from, you are welcome here. Christian, pagan, humanist, Jew, Buddhist, mystic, Muslim, Unitarian Universalist, with all of the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you are welcome here today. No matter how long you are away, know how soon you will return. You are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe in the inherent worth and dignity of all people. We acknowledge that our community is located on the lands once stewarded by the Arapaho, Ute, Sioux, and Cheyenne people. Our congregation honors Indigenous legacy and respects the enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous peoples and their traditional homelands through our connections to Right Relations Boulder. We also acknowledge we live in a time when Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, BIPOC, and Latinx and Hispanic people are devalued, violated, and killed because of systemic racism. We commit ourselves to becoming anti-racist in ourselves and our institutions by taking actions to dismantle racism in society, taking guidance from and while honoring the lived experience of those who identify as BIPOC, and developing personal relationships between cultures. We're trying something new with our announcements today by giving them at the end of the service. Please stay tuned to learn what's going on in today's post-service breakout rooms and in the days to come, and how you can be involved. Also, our joys and concerns today will be posted in the chat instead of by raising our hands to talk. We hope this will help our service run more smoothly. I'll let you know when you can start sharing those in the chat, and we will read out loud what you type. If you're new here, we are glad you found us and hope that in this virtual community, you can experience the warmth and love of this congregation. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to really get to know us. If you want to get better connected, please see the chat window for the link to our first time visitors page, or email your information to our office manager, Carol. at officemanager@bvuuf.org. Her email address will be in the chat window as well. And do be sure to check out the fellowship calendar and Connections Weekly for all the opportunities we have to stay connected. Finally, if any of you newbies would like to introduce yourself in the chat, please do so. We love to know who is among us. All are invited to stay for announcements and virtual coffee hour after the service. If you have a chalice at home, you can light it with me as I light our fellowship chalice. So we know where all the chalices are. Please write in the chat, chalice lit, in the name of your town. Please say the words along with me as I light our chalice. I'll go slowly so you can follow along. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. And now we will sing our bowl again, inviting it to draw you deeper into the present moment and this, our beloved community.
Good morning. My name is Ilya Kowalchuk, and I'll be your service associate for today. Oh, you men who think or say that I am malevolent, stubborn, or misanthropic, how greatly do you wrong me? You do not know the secret cause which makes me seem that way to you. And I would have ended my life. It was only my art that held me back. It seemed impossible to leave the world until I had brought forth all that I felt was within me. These are the words of a struggling, desperate man, a paradoxical man whose story has become legend. One of the greatest composers of all time, a man whose music pushed upon the outer limits of human brilliance, Ludwig van Beethoven. He wrote most of these vulnerable words. Beethoven continued on in this letter and told the world about the reality he had been facing for nearly a decade, that he was going deaf, losing the ability to hear his own musical brilliance performed. In today's service, we'll explore the idea of how do we all become a story. Beethoven's story was born through the experiences of an alcoholic father, dyslexia, crippling shyness, an unfortunate appearance, musical brilliance coupled with growing deafness, among other challenges. Let's explore how our trials and tribulations mold the narrative of our lives and legacies in unexpected, beautiful, and powerful ways.
We'll begin this morning with the music of Beethoven himself. Joyful, joyful, we adore thee is the tune taken from the absolutely epic Ninth Symphony of Beethoven. If you've heard it, you know there's just no other word to describe it. We'll start with the standard tune that is in our hymnal, and the words will be pasted in the chat. Thank you very much, tech ushers. But then we're going to break it down a little bit, and we are going to lead into an arrangement by Mervyn Warren, who was a member of the vocal supergroup Take Six. Joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, God of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, hail thee as the sun above. Melt the clouds of sin and sadness, drive the pain of doubt away. Giver of immortal gladness, fill us with the joy of day. All thy works with joy surround thee, earth and heaven reflect thy rays, sun and planet sing around thee, center of unbroken praise. Field and forest, vale and mountain, blossoming meadow, flashing sea, chanting bird and flowing fountain, call us to rejoice in thee. Thou art giving and forgiving, ever blessing, ever blessed, wellspring of the joy of living, ocean depth of happy rest. Ever singing, march we onward, victors in the midst of strife. Joyful music lifts us onward, sunward in the triumph song of life, song of life. Ever singing, march we onward, victors in the midst of strife. Joyful music lifts us onward in the triumph song of life, song of life. Joyful, joyful Lord, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, hail thee as the sun above. Melt the clouds of sin, sin and sadness, drive the dark of doubt away. Fill us with the joy of living. Fill us with your light, oh Lord. Fill us, don't you know we need that light? Fill us with your light. Fill us with your light. Fill us with the light. Fill
I want to keep dancing. It is my honor to welcome 2 new members to our fellowship. We welcome you in your brokenness and in your beauty, especially in these times when our interdependence is so clear. I am gladdened by your choice to be in accompaniment with the fellowship on your spiritual journey. I'll start by introducing Rachel Setsky, co-chair of the Path to Membership.
Good morning. I am Rachel Setsky, Path to Membership co-chair with Tanya Fish. We are here with you to welcome and covenant with individuals from the April class as they become official members. Bill will share a slide with their pictures of the 2 new members so you can start to get to know their faces. These terrific folks bring their yearnings and passions, and they nourish our community by their presence. Their photos and biographies will be sent out to our fellowship listserv this week. Join us as we officially receive them into the fellowship through our covenant.
I now invite each of you to state your name and where you live, so we might greet you. After each person speaks, feel free to welcome them in the chat. And I first recognize Mary Ann Waller.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann, and I live in Broomfield.
And Ron Gould.
And I'm Ron Gould, and I live in the Gunbarrel section of Boulder County.
We hope that as a new member of this congregation, you will allow yourselves to know and to be known, to minister to and be ministered unto, to love and to be loved by this congregation. The relationships we form in our fellowship are based on needs of the soul, needs that render each of us vulnerable and therefore reliant on each other's grace and goodness and generosity of spirit. Historically, Unitarian and Universalist congregations are part of the Free Church movement. This means 2 things that are important to what we are doing here today. First of all, Unitarian Universalism is a freely chosen religious path, even for those born into this tradition. Second, our faith requires no allegiance to a creed as a litmus test for membership. We respect each other's individual spirituality, and we come together to support each other as we collectively seek lives of integrity and wholeness. That doesn't make it an easy faith by any means. You are invited to grapple with your faith and bring your values into right action among us. Congregations, even free ones, are covenantal organizations. We bring our best intentions together to nurture our own hearts and souls towards wholeness, to build beloved community within these walls, and to bring justice where we see oppression. And when we fall short of our aspirations, we invite each other back into covenant. We do all this guided by our Unitarian Universalist purposes and principles. Will you join me in saying our new member covenant? As you will see in the slides, Rachel will speak for the congregation and we'll unmute you all at the end to give a cheer.
This is Nancy DeLaura, President of the Board of Trustees. And on behalf of the board, it is my privilege to welcome you as the newest members of the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We hope you find with us a place where you can both nurture your spirit and be a part of healing the world.
And will the new members please unmute yourselves?
I'm unmuted.
Yes.
Shall we, Marianne?
Yes, let's do it.
Joining
Joining
you
you in membership, we covenant to journey with
this
this
spiritual
spiritual
community,
community, learning and serving together.
Ours is a religious community which honors the past, envisions the future, and lives with passion in the present. As we welcome you among us, we pledge to you our support. You will be cared for, and you will be asked to care for others within and beyond this community.
We offer
Our energies, our talents,
and our
and our
resources
to build
to
a
build a
community
community
of
of exploration
and depth,
and
integrity, and compassion. We
We
are
are
eager
eager
to
to
merge
merge
our
our
religious
religious
journeys
with
with
fellowship
this fellowship and
and
serve in the
in the
work
work
of
of justice
justice and hope.
and hope.
Today, we rededicate ourselves to our vision of bringing love and reason to life and building a just and compassionate world. Together, we can make our congregation a model of our vision for the larger community. In the spirit of love and freedom, we have affirmed our intentions to help and encourage one another. May the relationship we have recognized today be a source of strength and joy to us all. Let's unmute for a moment for a cacophonous celebration. You can use your unmute button now.
Yay! Welcome, congratulations.
Welcome.
Yeah, glad to have you.
Yay.
Welcome.
Now let's continue celebrating by singing together.
Please join in singing a beloved hymn, We Give Thanks, by Wendy Llewellyn Perkins. The words will be pasted in the chat. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. One more time. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
Hello again. I am really excited right now. I'm really excited because I get to read you my absolute favorite short story. It's called 11, and it's written by a woman named Sandra Cisneros. It's a story about how we carry the experiences of our lives with us throughout our days. 11 is a beautiful allegory that hopefully deepens our understanding of today's theme, becoming a story. What they don't understand about birthdays, and what they never tell you, is that when you're 11, you're also 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And when you wake up on your 11th birthday, you expect to feel 11, but you don't. You open your eyes and everything's just like yesterday, only it's today. And you don't feel 11 at all. You feel like you're still 10. And you are underneath the year that makes you 11. Like some days you might say something stupid, and that's the part of you that's still 10. Or maybe some days you need to sit on your mama's lap because you're scared, and that's the part of you that's 5. And maybe one day when you're all grown up, maybe you'll need to cry like if you're 3. And that's okay. That's what I tell mama when she's sad and needs to cry. Maybe she's feeling 3. Because the way you grow old is kind of like an onion, or like the rings inside a tree trunk, or like my little wooden dolls that fit one inside the other, each year inside the next one. That's how being 11 years old is. You don't feel 11, not right away. It takes a few days, weeks even, sometimes even months before you say 11 when they ask you. And you don't feel smart 11, not until you're almost 12. That's the way it is. Only today, I wish I didn't have only 11 years rattling inside me like pennies in a tin Band-Aid box. Today, I wish I was 102 instead of 11, because if I was 102, I'd have known what to say when Mrs. Price put the red sweater on my desk. I would have known how to tell her it wasn't mine, instead of just sitting there with that look on my face and nothing coming out of my mouth. "Whose is this?" Mrs. Price says, and she holds the red sweater up in the air for all the class to see. "Whose? It's been sitting in the coat room for a month." "Not mine," says everybody. "Not me." "It has to belong to somebody," Mrs. Price keeps saying, but nobody can remember. It's an ugly sweater with red plastic buttons and a collar and sleeves all stretched out like you could use it for a jump rope. It's maybe 1,000 years old, and even if it belonged to me, I wouldn't say so. Maybe because I'm skinny, maybe because she doesn't like me. That stupid Sylvia Saldivar says, "I think it belongs to Rachel." An ugly sweater like that, all raggedy and old. But Mrs. Price believes her. Mrs. Price takes the sweater and puts it right on my desk. But when I open my mouth, nothing comes out. "That's not, I don't, you're not mine," I finally say in a little voice that was maybe me when I was 4. "Of course it's yours," Mrs. Price says. "I remember you wearing it once." Well, because she's older and the teacher, she's right, and I'm not. "Not mine, not mine, not mine." But Mrs. Price is already turning to page 32 and math problem number 4. I don't know why, but all of a sudden I'm feeling sick inside, like the part of me that's 3 wants to come out of my eyes. Only I squeeze them shut tight and bite down on my teeth real hard and try to remember today I am 11, 11. Mama is making a cake for me tonight, and when Papa comes home, everybody will sing happy birthday to you. But when the sick feeling goes away and I open my eyes, the red sweater's still sitting there like a big red mountain. I move the red sweater to the corner of my desk with my ruler. I move my pencils and books and eraser as far from it as possible. I even move my chair a little to the right. Not mine, not mine, not mine. In my head, I'm thinking, how long till lunchtime? How long till I can take the red sweater and throw it over the schoolyard fence, or leave it hanging on a parking meter, or bunch it up into a little ball and toss it in the alley? Except when math period ends, Mrs. Price says loud and in front of everybody, "Now, Rachel, that's enough." because she sees I've shoved the red sweater to the tippy tip corner of my desk and it's hanging all over the edge like a waterfall. But I don't care. Rachel, Mrs. Price says. She says it like she's getting mad. You put that sweater on right now and no more nonsense. But it's not now, Mrs. Price says. This is when I wish I wasn't 11, because all the years inside of me, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, are pushing at the back of my eyes when I put one arm through one sleeve of the sweater that smells like cottage cheese, and then the other arm through the other, and stand there with my arms apart, like if the sweater hurts me, and it does, all itchy and full of germs that aren't even mine. That's when everything I've been holding in since this morning, since when Mrs. Price put the sweater on my desk, finally lets go. And all of a sudden, I'm crying in front of everybody. I wish I was invisible, but I'm not. I'm 11 and it's my birthday today, and I'm crying like I'm 3 in front of everybody. I put my head down on the desk and bury my face in my stupid clown sweater arms. My face all hot and spit coming out of my mouth because I can't stop the little animal noises from coming out of me until there aren't any more tears left in my eyes. And it's just my body shaking, like when you have the hiccups and my whole head hurts, like when you drink milk too fast. But the worst part is right before the bell rings for lunch, that stupid Phyllis Lopez, who's even dumber than Sylvia Saldivar, says she remembers the red sweater is hers. I take it off right away and give it to her. Only Mrs. Price pretends like everything's okay. Today, I'm 11. There's a cake Mama's making for tonight, and when Papa comes home from work, we'll eat it. There'll be candles and presents, and everybody will sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, Rachel. Only it's too late. I'm 11 today. I'm 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. But I wish I was 102. I wish I was anything but 11. Because today, I want today to be far away already. Far away like a runaway balloon. Like a tiny O in the sky. So tiny, tiny. You have to close your eyes to see it.
Becoming a story. What is the difference between history and a story? History is often based on real events, and the intent of sharing it is usually of an educational nature. Now, a story can be based on real events, but the intent is to relay a message, to inspire, to warn, to share the human experience with others. When does history become a story? To have a story, you need characters, setting, plot, conflict, and resolution. But can't the telling of history have all of those same things? I believe the difference is intent. And that the divine difference is how we as listeners take that story and allow it to change us and thus to change the world. I would like to tell you a story that takes place 100 years ago and how it saved me. There was a young woman named Petra. She was an indigenous Mexican. Her people had lived in the mountains for generations before Spanish conquistadors came. The landscape was changing from a rural lifestyle to an increasingly industrial and modern world. She lived in the village of San Luis Potosí during a time of revolution. The wealthy and powerful of Mexico wanted to go headfirst into the industrial society. Unfortunately, the rural farmers were being left behind. The laws, land development, and politics were increasingly crushing their way of life and their very lives. And so they began to fight back. One of the wealthy families was a couple from Spain who moved to Mexico City with their children. Their boy was named Luciano, and he grew into adulthood in the comfort of privilege and power. Luciano met Petra, a small young woman who wore her hair in 2 long braids. They had a son, Luis, who looked just like his father. Fair skin, dark hair, dark eyes, and those same Spanish features. But this is not a love story. Petra lived in her village while Luciano returned to Mexico City. He was raising her son alone and eventually a daughter as well. This was a dangerous time of uprisings, militias, and distrust. One day, Luciano was gone. He was gone. His parents searched, but he was likely a casualty of the political climate that was revolting against the elite. His parents decided to return to Spain, but didn't want to leave empty-handed. They wanted to take Luis, the 5-year-old boy with the Spanish face. They went to the village and asked everyone where to find Petra. But she, Luis, and her new daughter, Kika, were not home. When they did return to the village that night, their neighbors reached them first. They warned Petra that the boy's grandparents had come to take the child and that they would be back. It is in moments like these we find out who we are and what we're capable of. The Mexican poet Octavio Paz says, "Beyond myself, somewhere, I wait for my arrival." Is there a future version of you waiting for you to arrive? For you to become the person that you doubt you're capable of? But history will say was inevitable. Maybe that moment is right now. The setting, a pandemic. The characters are in the room with you or across the screen from you. And the vessel that holds all of what is demanded of you suddenly expands. There is this vacuum of space there now. The ask seems impossible. Petra found herself in such a moment. And she grew in that moment to fill in the vacuum, using the awesome seed of a mother's love to grow more bravery, strength, and resilience than she ever thought possible. She grabbed a bag, her 2 children under 5, and made a plan. They would board the next train that was leaving and ride it to wherever their future lay. But the next train did not leave until morning. So she faced one dark, cold night before safety. She needed a place to hide. Her little family crept into the cemetery and sheltered behind a large tombstone. Her son, Luis, was my grandfather, and he remembers that night. He said his mother wrapped him and his sister in the folds of her long skirt. And they fell asleep while Petra waited for the sun. And it came. They snuck onto the train and rode it to the first big city where they could disappear. That city was Monterrey, Mexico, the city where my tias and primos still live today. My mother, Olga, moved from Monterrey to the United States, settling in Houston. And she is online with us today. Hi, Mom. At the beginning of this sermon, I told you that this story saved me. You see, my father was a violent, volatile man and an alcoholic. And while there were good days and bad days, every day had a thundercloud that threatened over it. It was fear and yelling and bruises and threats and shaming and doctors and bishops and her 4 children. If she was going to leave her husband, she was going to have to grow bravery and strength so that she and her children could learn to live in sunlight. It was the story that guided her. Petra's story, her grandmother's story. These are my mother's words from when I interviewed her. When we moved out of the house, I remembered her. I asked her to walk with me, with us. And if she can do it, I can do it. The challenges that we overcome are a testimony of the power of the story. Even after 100 years, you still hold on to that story. And so that is how the story saved me. Petra walked with my mother and me and my siblings, and we left danger to arrive home. My childhood opened into silliness and sleepovers, and I grew into who I am today. So thank you, Petra. Thank you, Mother. And thank you for all to you, because through your listening, you are now part of how this story continues to inspire and change our world. All I ask for in return is your story. Start with a setting, add a protagonist, some conflict, and then grow. It doesn't have to be tidy or monumental, and you don't have to know how it ends. Just live wildly and then tell it to me, to others. When we combine all of these chapters, imagine what sacred opus we will create.
Thank you, Linda. And now to honor Petra's story and Linda's story, And to touch on that piece of all of us that is searching, seeking, leading onward, we'll sing De Noche, which is a song that comes from the Taizé tradition. Taizé is a contemplative religious community in France, and one of their trademarks are these short, repeatable songs that lead us more deeply into the nature of the lyrics. You are more than welcome to sing them in Spanish as they appear in the hymnal, or French, or Italian, or German. I'll be singing them in English today. We're also going to employ a new technique where we're going to use looping vocals to help us build the repetitions. So feel free to join in whenever you feel ready and sing anything that brings you deeper into this moment.
For those of you that didn't see what I posted in the chat, I just wanted to add that Linda chose that particular song to follow up her sermon because of its beauty, as well as the fact that it honors and mirrors the paths of her ancestors. Thank you, Tad and Emily. That was beautiful. Each week, we remind ourselves of the abundance of our lives in this community by giving half of our plate away to those organizations that share our values. Today, we share our plate with the I Have a Dream Foundation in Boulder County. I Have a Dream Foundation takes kids who would be most at risk of not finishing high school and supports them with programming, activities, and most importantly, trusted adults to reach their post-high school dreams. The foundation sticks with these kids, and they have proven results. 8 years ago, we made a commitment to about 50 second and third graders at Pioneer Elementary. These kiddos joined up with the class at Ryan Elementary during middle school to become the Griffin class. This class is now at Centaurus High School, and some have already graduated. As you can understand, a big part of our commitment to the Griffin class is to help them become their own stories. Protagonist, conflict, and all. Your generous support will provide the resources, time, and space these kids need in order to overcome challenges they encounter and thrive. Please give generously, as you always do, to support the I Have a Dream Foundation of Boulder County. After you have made your offering, please feel free to share in the chat the answer to the following question. Who or what has helped you become, and how? This question will be pasted into the chat now. For the work of the fellowship, bringing love, reason, compassion, and justice to this world, and to the work of the I Have a Dream Foundation, we dedicate our offerings.
And now we sing. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
And now I invite us into our time of community connection, our time of sacred sharing. If you'd like to share a joy or concern, please share your joy or concern in the chat window by sending a chat to everyone, and then I will read out loud what you sent. If you would like us to be able to follow up with you, please include your full name in your chat. Lisa will put a stone in our sacred waters on your behalf. Beloveds, let us hold each other today. Whether we are the ones holding up or the ones being held up, it is exactly right. We are thankful for the creators, the rebels, the helpers, and the listeners. In days such as these, we need them all. When we unite, imagine what stories we can write. Amen. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, or the energy of action. Those we carry on in our hearts until we meet again. Let us go forth, but not until after the announcement. And as promised, here are our announcements about upcoming events in today's breakout rooms. Whew. I will be in a breakout room with my mom and Ilya for those of you who would like to discuss today's service. And there are some photos that my mom would like to share as well. After these announcements, we will have our monthly coffee and conversation with elected leaders in one of our breakout rooms. Jan Cheney, Claire Kelly, and Scott Humans will be there to chat with you and answer your questions. Clara and Scott are also on the sabbatical team. So if you have questions or feedback about the sabbatical, they would welcome your participation. You can also pop into that room to arrange to speak with them privately if that would be helpful for you. At the same time, there will be a breakout room with Sharon Leslie Morgan with the Our Black Ancestry Project. Sharon's fascinating personal story, a lifetime promoting African-American family history, and exceptional insight into STAR, strategies for trauma awareness and resilience, provides relevant and timely skills for addressing racial conflict in today's society. We will present on basic research skills with the goal of uniting and healing people who share a legacy in slavery, descendants of both the enslaved and the enslavers. This presentation is about 40 minutes, plus time at the end for Q&A. And if you remember the reflection David Bume offered us in February about the work he did to learn about his enslaving ancestors, Sharon was the person who led him in that work. There is a suggested donation of $25 per person. However, donations of any amount are gratefully accepted and no one will be turned away for lack of funds. The PayPal link is going into the chat now.